Hey everybody, it's BJ, and I'm back with my coach, Matt Shepard. We talked about having Matt on. So Matt, welcome to the program today.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
And we're going to get right into it and ask Matt some questions, get some feedback from him, just some things with regards to obviously training. And, there's a bigger picture to training like we talk about on this channel than just going to the gym, but about having a real fitness and health lifestyle. So before we kind of jump into that, Matt, your background is you were in the Navy for 16 years. Is that right?
That's right. That's correct. Navy for 16 years. And then I retired 2.5 years ago. So March 2021. So,
okay.
And then that led me into taking some courses towards my coaching and all that. So,
right.
Yeah.
So now, when in terms of being in the Navy, were you always doing some kind of fitness work with that, or like just staying fit while you were doing that? Or
yeah, so I was training when I was in the Navy. Actually, I've been training since I joined the military. So I would always be working out at sea and working out 5 days a week on the ship. So whenever we sailed, so I kept all that up. So.
Okay. Is there something that you're consistently hearing from clients or people that come to you looking for help? I'm too busy, or I'm too this, or I'm too that, or is there one kind of, I know everybody's unique, but is there something that kind of threads its way through all of those?
I think I don't have time to, for fitness or for my health, essentially, right?
Okay.
So that's what I hear through a lot of the clients that I coach, right?
Okay.
That's a problem, right? Because you need to replace some of your old habits for the new habit that's going to be, your fitness journey, right?
Sure.
So you can't just take on a fitness journey and then expect to be able to carry everything else, right? That's why a lot of people fall off. So you need to replace a bad habit with a good habit that you develop over time.
Sure. And I know you talked about, I watched one of your podcasts, one of your blogs, and you were specifically talking about the area of time management and about setting priorities or having priorities.
Yes.
And then also giving yourself rewards.
Right.
So maybe talk about how that works with the whole time management thing. Because there might be somebody watching saying, look, I'm in my 40s, I'm in my 50s, and I need to get going.
Right.
But how do I prioritize this with whatever else is going on in my life?
You just need to prioritize what matters to you most, right? And then just kind of go from what's most important to what's least important throughout the day. And that's how you're going to get most of the things that you need to get done throughout the day, right?
Yeah.
So,
and then you were talking about giving yourself breaks and rewards. So what does that mean?
So if I have my calendar out and I'm knocking off a bunch of tasks, and I've knocked off a couple of tasks early in the morning, I will take a 5 or 10 minute break, but I'll set an alarm on that time limit. Right?
Okay.
So I don't go past it, because it's easy to turn 20 minutes into an hour and 20 minutes.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. So and that's how you're going to waste time throughout the day, and that's how we don't get things done.
Getting into shape requires making a decision to shift your identity to that of someone who holds themselves to a higher standard.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about that, because I think identity is huge. We did, early on, we did an episode on who are you and where are you going and all of these things. So what does that mean from your perspective when we talk about health and fitness and this whole health and fitness journey?
Well, you got to know who you are, right? So you got to be invested, right? So if you're not invested, if you're not all in, you're not going to be able to push forward on this journey. Right?
Sure.
So that's essentially what we're getting down to here. So it's you need to know what you want, right? And you got to just pursue those goals with aggressive patience. So
I like that. Aggressive patience. Tell me, what is aggressive patience?
All in, but know it's going to take a while, right? So just know it's a process, it's a journey, and don't get discouraged after 30 days when you're not seeing the changes. Just keep pushing forward.
Right.
So
if someone comes into it without, let's say they don't have muscle memory to start with, in other words, they don't have a history of working out or training, and you mentioned it's not going to be 30 days. When do you think they start seeing some real progress in the mirror or on the scale or that kind of thing?
if they've never hit the gym before or worked out, lifted weights at all, I
Yeah.
would say the first 60 to 90 days, you're going to really start to notice some gains.
Yeah.
And then what we call those are the new gains, right? After
Yeah.
about 3 months, things kind of plateau for a bit. And, it's a bit of a slower process after that.
Yeah. So going back to what you said about patience. So what was the exact word you used?
Aggressively
patient. I really like that. Aggressively patient. So that means, somebody going into this needs to go into it with the understanding that it's not overnight.
Right.
We did a whole episode on there's no such thing as overnight success,
Right.
but with the understanding that if you'll stick with it, you're going to see results.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. So, and I think that's important for those that are watching, especially if you're in your 50s maybe or 60s, is that it's going to take time, but you're going to see results. And at the end of the day, we've said this, 6 months from now, we all know we're going to be older.
That's right.
Right. But we can control the direction of change by what we do between now and then.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So. Let me read something else that is a quote from your Instagram. The proper nutrition plan lets you enjoy meals with your friends and family regularly. So let's talk about that, because a lot of people think when it comes to the nutrition portion, I'm just eating celery and nuts.
Rice and just, kind of boring things that most people don't want to eat.
Right. So let's put that in perspective. What are we saying here?
It's all calories in versus calories out. So if you want to have, a burger with the family, some fries with the family and stuff like that,
right?
Everything's got to be in moderation, right? So it's, as long as you're not going overboard, you can eat whatever you want and still, to an extent, and still lose the weight that you want or whatever your fitness goals are, right? So it's, that's just it. You can enjoy time with your family. It doesn't have to be chicken and rice all the time.
Right. So is there a best diet?
I don't know if there's a best diet per se. I did a study on the diets before. I want to say 4 years ago. There was the keto diet, the carnivore diet. There's the well-balanced diet. There's the vegan diet. Did I say vegetarian?
Vegetarian.
So there's 4 or 5 different diets, and the best diet that I found was the well-balanced diet, which is just a little bit of everything.
Right.
So, but I mean, there's pros and cons to every diet, really. So,
yeah. I mean, I guess the thing is you have to figure out what works for you, because different bodies respond to different nutrients, macros, etc.
Exactly.
I think the one thing I really appreciate that you talked about on one of the posts was avoiding the real huge fad diets, right?
Yes. So, like soup diets and salad diets and stuff like that. You're going to get that weight loss right away, but it's not going to be sustainable. We're trying to make something sustainable here, right?
Yeah, so I guess that's the thing, right? When we talk about diet, and on this channel, when we say your diet, it's not what you eat or don't eat. It's your lifestyle of nutrition when we talk about diet.
Right.
So I guess that's the thing, like you said, it's got to be sustainable, right?
Right. Yeah. You got to have that healthy balance of fats and carbohydrates, and you don't want to be miserable doing this, right? This has got to be something that this is a lifestyle. So,
and so when you look at a client, you put, I'm assuming then you're putting your meal plan or their meal plan together based on your conversation with them about their goals and where they want to go and the level of commitment they're prepared to make. Does that make sense?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
So, yeah. So then what does that look like? If somebody says, let's say somebody says, I want to lose 10 or 20 pounds versus somebody says, I want to add 10 pounds of muscle. Those are 2 different things entirely, right?
2 totally different diets too, right? So you could do similar diets, but just a lot more calories for that person that wants to put on muscle, right? But sometimes you got to have those hard conversations depending on what these potential clients have been eating as well, right? Leading up to our coaching call. So so there's usually a hard conversation in there. So,
What's the rule of thumb if somebody's watching this and they say, okay, well, I need to get out and start moving, and we've talked about that a lot, is start moving, start doing something.
Right.
But I know steps is a big thing right now, trying to get a certain number of steps into a day. So what does that look like?
If you're trying to lose weight or lose fat, you're going to want to be around the 10 to 12,000 steps per day, right? So I'd say that's about an hour plus of walking throughout the day, right? So even parking a distance away from the grocery store is going to help you get some of those steps in throughout the day. So
Yeah. And that's an easy one too, because that's one that I don't know where I picked that up from, but my daughter is the recipient of it, whether she likes it or not, that we do all the time is I park a ways away from the door.
Yeah.
So that we're always getting an extra walk to get in. Yeah.
Yeah, so I go in the grocery store and sometimes I'll just do circles, around
Right.
looking for certain products. And even if I know it's a distance away, I'll just take the long route.
Right.
So, yeah.
So 10 to 12,000 steps, how does someone get that into a day?
I mean, depends. If you don't have anywhere to hike or get outside to walk, I mean, I preferably you want to be hiking outside or walking, getting some sort of walk. If not, go to a gym, hit the treadmill for 30 to 60 minutes, and then probably some other steps throughout the day will add up to about 10,000, right? So you just got to be active throughout the day. So,
Yeah. So, and I guess there's step counters now that you can wear them.
Apple Watches and stuff. Yeah, that helps.
And I think even I don't use it very much, but my phone
Yes.
will be a step counter, but it just means I have to carry my phone with me everywhere I go, which I do mostly, but not when I work out.
That's what I do too. But it doesn't track when I work out as well. So
Yeah. Okay. So if somebody's saying, look, steps aren't really my thing, I'm not into walking, or maybe they have limitations physically that their walking is not an option. Are there some other options of things they can do from a cardiovascular point of view?
Yeah, I would try rowing. You could go swimming. You could hit the heavy bag. I mean, you could just stand in front of the bag and just move your arms fast, and you're going to get that cardio in. So it's as long as we're getting our heart rate up, right? And,
Yeah.
we're sweating. We're making progress towards our goals.
About overcoming procrastination when it comes to getting on with your health and fitness journey. Because I think for a lot of people, the biggest thing is just getting started, right?
Yes.
Is getting going.
Yes.
So what does that look like? People come to you, they say, I want to get, how do you address that with them? I want to get healthy, I want to get fit. Where does that look, fit in there?
There's a lot of anxiety that people carry around, I think, upon getting started, because it's a little overwhelming, right? So just action alleviates anxiety, really. So if you're sitting around and you got to get that walking in, you got to get your fitness in, you just get up, just pick yourself up. You really it's going to take that initial effort to get going. And then once you get going, you start building momentum, and that's going to push you, further.
Right.
So, yeah.
So, we talk about, and you already talked about this, about habits. We talk about procrastination, and one of the things that we can work around with that is establishing good habits.
Right.
So let's say I don't get up in the morning, and that's a habit that I've created, and I want to go for a walk in the morning. What can I do to change that? Just practically, if somebody's watching and saying, hey, yeah, that's me. And what can I do that's going to be achievable and manageable?
You can set your alarms. You can write it down in a calendar what you need to do for the next upcoming days. And the first time is always going to be the hardest, right? Just pulling yourself up, getting yourself out. And that's how you start building that accountability for yourself. It's the first time is always the hardest, and then it gets easier as you go. So building that good habit, right? So we got to get rid of that bad habit to take on that new good habit, right?
Right.
So it's always the first time.
And I guess that's one thing. Then you can remind yourself when you're doing it for the first time that, hey, it's going to get easier.
Yes.
Right. It's going to get easier.
It's always hard
Tomorrow's
in the
going to be
beginning.
right.
Yeah. So it's always difficult.
I heard somebody else come up with a really good one too. Is talking about planning your, for health and fitness, planning so that when you wake up in the morning, you're not looking for your gear. Where are my sweats? Do I have a clean shirt? The shirt's not clean, I'm not going. Just setting some things up. And I think that's something you can do practically, is just prepare for, if you're going to go to the gym the next morning and you're trying to build this new habit, and give yourself every opportunity to succeed, so that you have your workout clothes already picked out. You have them all set up so that you can just grab them and go, whether they go in your gym bag or you're going to change and go and come home.
But
you're prepared, right?
being prepared saves you so much time. It's everything, right? Not being prepared is just going to set you back, and you're going to be pressed for time, right? So that's what it comes down to: preparation.
Let's talk about dealing with plateaus and ruts, because in the training world of just physical fitness period, you're going to hit some what we call plateaus. In other words, you will have made progress to a point and then it seems like nothing's happening.
Right.
So what do we do then?
Sometimes we'll switch up the training plan, right? So usually we'll have 12-week training plans, and then we like to switch it up because we've probably plateaued by that time. Or if you haven't plateaued by that time, you just keep going, right? So I like the same training plan. So once I've plateaued, I will take a week where I just lift at about 50%, just kind of give my joints a bit of a break. And then I'll switch up my entire routine, and I'll do something else for 3 months, and then I'll go back to the old routine that I just came off of.
Right. So variety.
Right.
Gets rid of the plateau.
Right.
So what's happening when we hit that plateau? Are we still, making gains in the gym? Is our muscles still progressing? What's happening?
I mean, I think it comes down to fatigue, right? So he can only lift so much weight for so many reps, right? So you need to recruit other muscle groups in there to help you push past that in time, right? So that's where we just kind of level off, and then we just, let's work on some other muscle groups to try balancing everything out, and hopefully that pushes you through, right? So I would say make sure you're all in when you first want to, when you first start with your new coach that you're trying to get in shape with, right? If you're not all in, you're just going to waste your time. You're going to waste your money, and you're not going to get the results that you want, right? So I'd say make sure that you're invested. So
yeah, and that's the thing. What better place to make an investment of your time, your energy, and everything else but your own health, right? So, and we talk about that a lot on this channel, that we're all about understanding that aging is inevitable, but growing old is optional. So we want to age gracefully. And so there's some things we talked about practically. Maybe you have some questions, put them in the comments, or you have some thoughts on things that, Matt's talked about. Or if you'd like to know how to get a hold of Matt, we'll put his contact info in the description as well. And you can reach out to him directly as far as, getting involved with him, or maybe just getting some input and some feedback and that kind of thing. Also, if you're watching and you're on YouTube with us, please take a minute and subscribe to the channel and like the video. If you're listening, we're also on Spotify and Apple Play, so maybe you're catching us there. So we appreciate that. Please give us a review on those as well. And thank you for joining us, Matt. Thank you for taking time to be with us today.
yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah.
And see you next time, everybody.